Okay, shalom to all. We are doing Perek Bet, Sefer Breishit, Perek Bet. The first three psukim you know, because the first three psukim you hear every Friday night when you sit down for Kiddush or stand up for Kiddush. Vayichulu Hashemayim va'aretz v'chol tziva'am. So Hashem completed. Vayichal, vayichulu means to complete. Hashem completed, Shemayim and Aretz, the creation of the world. Shemayim and Aretz v'chol tziva'am. V'chol tziva'am means that everything that was in it. Everything that was the Shemaim and the Aretz and everything that encompassed Shemaim and Aretz. He finished this on the seventh day. Melachto asher asa, all of his malacha, all of his work. Vayishbot, and we know that what did Hashem do on the seventh day? Vayishbot, he rested, lashevet, to sit. He vayishbot bayom hashvi mikom melachto asher asa. He rested from what? He rested from mikom melachto, all of his work, asher asa, that he did. Pasuk Gimel, vayirech l'kim es yom hashvi vayikadesh uso. Hashem blessed the seventh day and he sanctified it. He made it holy. Why? Kivo Shavas mikom melachto, because that was a day of rest. So Hashem made it that day holy. Asher bara Elokim la'aso, which Hashem had created to do. Pasuk. Okay, you're not going to probably ask any questions of those three, but if they do, that would be awesome. This is the history. This is the story of the creation of the world when bihibaram biyom asot Hashem Elokim eretz v'shamayim. Okay, so this is just an introductory pasuk. That this is going to be, Hashem is going, this is the history of the Shemaim and Aretz. Pasuk, v'chol siach hasadeh terem yihiyeh be'aretz, all of siach hasadeh, all of the growths of the field, all the growths of the land, terem yihiyeh be'aretz, they hadn't grown yet. V'chol esav hasadeh terem yitzmach, and all the vegetation, nothing had basically come above. The potential was latent. The potential was there under the ground, but it didn't happen. The grass didn't grow yet. The flowers didn't grow yet. Why? Kilo himtir Hashem Elokim al haaretz. Because Hashem had not yet brought rain. It wasn't that just all of a sudden he said, let there be grass, and there was grass. It was really that the potential for grass was there, but we needed rain to take there. So the grass didn't grow right away. Why? Pasuk Hey tells us, Kilo himtir Hashem Elokim al haaretz va'adama ayin la'avodet adama. And it wasn't a miraculous life. We also didn't have people to work the land, to make things grow. Ve'ed ya'aleh min haaretz v'hishka et kol pnei ha'adama. So what happened? How did it grow? Pasuk Vav, ve'ed. And aid here in English means a mist, some type of liquid, some type of precipitation came from the ground. Usually, obviously, precipitation, rain comes from the Shamayim. Here, miraculously or whatever, it comes from the ground. Ve'ed ya'aleh, came up, min ha'aretz, from the ground. Ve'hishka, and it watered the whole land. Pasuk Zayin, v'yitzar Hashem Elokim et ha'adam afar. Okay, so that's that, and I guess the grass and stuff grew. Now, then, we said in the previous Perek that Hashem created Adam, B'tsalmenu kidmutenu, and B'tsalem Elokim, all of those important phrases. But how was he actually kind of built, right? It doesn't say. It just seems like Adam just appeared. It's not 100% true. Or here Perek Bet, Pasuk Zayin, is filling in some of those details. Pasuk Zayin, Vayitzer Hashem Elokim et ha'adam. Hashem formed man. How did Hashem form? How did he create man? Afar min ha'adama. He took dust or dirt from the ground. Vayipach ba'apav nishmas chayim. And we created from the dust. Hashem blew into his nostrils. Blew into I think Adam's nostrils. Blew a nishmas Adam, like a neshama, a breath of life. Vayiha Adam lenefesh chaya. And once Hashem kind of blew part of himself, what the pasuk calls a nishmas chayim, into Adam Harishon, so then Adam is considered to be a living human being. The top of page 23, Vayiha Adam lenefesh chaya. Now Adam is considered to be a nefesh chaya. He's considered to be a living soul. Vayita Hashem Elokim gan be'eden. Hashem then plants they're living in this place called Eden. And so in Eden, he plants a gan, he plants an orchard, he plants a garden, gan be'eden. Mikedem, which was to the east, I guess not exactly where the Gan Be'eden was the east, okay? Vayasim sham et Adam asher yatzar. And he has his Gan Eden, and he places Adam in Gan Eden. Vayitzmach Hashem Elokim min ha'adama, and Hashem made grow out of the soil kol eitz nechmad lemar, the beautiful, beautiful trees. The trees were called ki eitz nechmad lemar'eh v'tov lemachal. They looked good and they tasted good. Ve'etz hachayim b'toch hagan. And there was something called an eitz hachayim that was also the tree of life was also in the middle of the gan. Ve'etz hadas, and also in eitz hadas tov hara. Okay, so there are there are many trees, I guess, but there was two trees that the Torah highlights. One is called an eitz hachayim, and then there's the eitz hadas. Right? They're going to eat from the eitz hadas tov hara. That gives you knowledge. Plus, good. Then the next few psukim are going to say that there are, I think, 4 different rivers that were in Gan Eden. We should know all of these rivers. V'nahar yotzei me'eden lashkot et hagan. And a nahar, a river, a stream, came out of Eden, that's their place, to water the garden. Umisham yiparade, and it would come out, and this nahar basically split into 4s. Umisham yiparade, and from there it separated. Remember, previously yiparade and havdalah kind of both mean the same thing. To make a distinction, to divide, to separate. We had havdil was in Perek Aleph. Now the word is yiparade. Vayala arba rashim. So there's one nahar, and it comes off into like four heads, 4 parts, 4 different smaller water sources. Pasuk Aleph on the top of 25. Shem achad Pishon. Pishon was the first one. And who has sovevet kol eretz hachavila, that surrounded the land of Chavila, asher sham hazahav. Okay, so Pasuk Aleph, you probably have to know the connection that where was their gold? There was the gold in this place called Chavila, and the river that's associated with Chavila, and the gold is Pishon. Pasuk Bet uzahav haaretz hahitov, and the gold of that land was very good. And there were also Sham HaBidolach ve'Evan HaShoham. Okay, and these other stones were able to be found there. Good. Pasuk Gimel. The second one is called Gichon. The second river is called Gichon. Hu hasovev kol eretz Kush. That one surrounded the land of Kush. The third is called Chidekel. That flowed near Ashur, and the fourth one was called the Nahar Perat. Nahar Perat. Okay, those are the 4. So the 4 are Pishon, Gichon, Chidekel, and Prat. Do I need to know them? Maybe I need to know them. I'm not sure. Vayikach Hashem Elokim et Adam. He places us in Gan Eden. What's our purpose? Why do we have to be in Gan Eden? Pasuk Tesvav, right? La'avda u'lishamra. That's the purpose of Adam and Chava being in Gan Eden. Vayitzav Hashem Elokim al ha'adam le'mor mikol eitz hagan achol tochal. You can eat from all of the trees, he says. You can eat from all the trees. However, Yudzayin u'me'etz hadas tovera. However, from the eitz hadas, lo tochal mimenu. Lo tochal mimenu. Why? Okay. What's going to happen if you eat on that day? If you eat from the eitz hadas, ki bayom achalcha mimenu mot tamut. You are going to die. The day that you eat from it, you are going to die. That is pasuk Yudzayin. Yudchet bayom Hashem Elokim lo tov yasadam levado eselo ezer kenegdo. Very important. Okay. So he's telling Adam that He's telling Adam that it's not good for man to be alone. It's not good for man to be single. So he wants to give him he's going to create Chava now. Chava is created, and she's called, it's a very important phrase, Ezer Kenegdo. I'm going to make for him, for Adam Arishon, I'm going to make for him a helper. A helper is an Ezer Kenegdo. Pasuk Yotes Vayitzar. Hashem Elokim min ha'adama kol chayat hasadeh. Hashem formed from the ground every animal ve'et kol of hashamayim vayavei et ha'adam lirot ma yikra lo. Okay, pasuk. We've heard that Adam Harishon, he named all of the animals. That's pasuk Yotes, that Hashem brought all of the animals. Okay, kol chayat Vayitzar Hashem Elokim min Adam. He formed them and then he brought them. Vayavei el Ha'adam. He brings them to Adam. L'rot ma'yiko, to see what should be. This guy, let's call him a bear. Let's call him a lion. Let's call him a dog. Let's call him a dolphin. Let's call him a walrus. Whatever it is. And Adam named all of the animals. V'chol asher yikra lo ha'adam nefesh chayahu shemo. Whatever Adam called them, that was how they were going to be called. Pasuk Chaf. Now 6 more psukim. Vayikra Adam shemot lechol abeimah lefashamayim lechol chayet aselo Adam lo matza izer kanedo. He named all the animals. This is a bear, and this is a rhinoceros, and this is a cat, whatever it is. But Adam lo matza izer. He didn't have a helper. He didn't have a teammate. Vayapel Hashem lokim tardima. Hashem made Adam, they'd be like very, very sleepy, very, very tired, in a trance. Here he says unconscious to fall, tardema. Adam vayishan, and he fell asleep. So ultimately, what happens? Adam falls asleep. Okay? Vayikach achat mitzalotav. Hashem takes one of the mitzalotav, one of the ribs of Adam Harishon. Vayiskor basar techeh, and then basically he takes it, and then he closes it up. He stitches him back up. Don't ask me whether he had a mark. I have no clue. Pasuk Chabet. Vayiven Hashem Elokim et hatzela. So Hashem builds from this tzela, from the rib of Adam, from Adam's rib. Okay, he builds. Vayive el ha'adam. He builds Chava. He builds a woman from the rib of Adam. That's Pasuk Chaf Bet. Vayiveha el ha'adam, and he brings her to this newly formed woman that was formed from Adam's rib, brings her to Adam Harishon. Pasachav Gimel Vayom Adam Zotapam. Right? This at last. I don't exactly know what that means. He's saying like, whoa, right? Etzem me'atzamai ubasar mibsari. The bone from my bones and my flesh from my flesh. Lezot yikare isha. Right? I'm going to call her Isha. A woman is called an Isha. Why? Kemeish lukha zot. She's called Isha. Why? Because Kemeish lukha zot. That's the reason why she's called a woman. Al kain. Therefore, Yazov ish et aviv et imo. A person should, not when they're 7, not when they're 11, but ultimately a person should leave his father and his mother. V'davak beishto, and he should attach himself. He should get married. He should cling to his wife. V'hayu lebasar echad. When they get married, man and woman should be lebasar echad. They should be like one flesh. That's the end of the story, the creation of woman. I think we're going to get a couple more details in the next Perek maybe, but that's the creation of Chava. And then the last pasuk, which is going to lead into them eating from the Eitz Hadas, pasuk Vayu shnehem arumim. They were both naked. They were both undressed. Ha'adam v'ishto, right? But v'lo yitbosheshu. They weren't embarrassed. They didn't know that there are private that people should be dressed. Right? So v'lo yitbosheshu. Why were they? They were not ashamed. They were not ashamed of what? They were not ashamed that they were undressed. They were not married. That was the end of Perek Bet.